Buncombe County overnight?
Here in Buncombe County, we're actually expecting just the freezing rain event. It's supposed to start later on tonight as the temperatures drop. In preparation for that, obviously we've had our spreaders and plows on for most of the past month. We've got those rigged up. We've got all our salt and sand on stockpile here. We've sharpened our saws today, got our chains ready for the vehicle, so we're just sitting around now waiting. Our night crew starts at 4 p.m. today, and it'll run to 4 a.m., and then day crew will pick up from that point and go to the following 4 p.m. the next day.
Are you guys bringing on any extra crews?
We have on I-26, in that project, that's part of the project, we have contractors that are pushing snow with our forces on that section of roadway.
And what roads are you expecting to be the most dangerous for folks?
With an ice event, most of your dangerous roads are your roads that are elevated, steep terrain, and interstates, roads that are high speed, because most of this is going to be black ice is what they're predicting. Very, very hard to tell the difference between ice and just water at that point, especially overnight. So pretty much any road at that point could be very dangerous.
And how long are you expecting it to be dangerous for drivers through tomorrow?
Looking at the weather, about daybreak is where the temperature will kind of break at that point and hopefully start rising as the sun comes up. But anytime the morning commute, as long as there's traffic on the road and it's below freezing, we expect those to be our dangerous times.
How serious is this winter storm threat compared to what we've seen, the rest of this winter?
The black ice events are the most dangerous. Four-wheel drive vehicles are not doesn't perform as well on black ice, just for the fact that it's ice itself. So this will be our first ice event this year. We predict it to give us the most trouble, not only with the roadway, but also the vegetation, trees, power lines. They gather, get heavy. There's just another obstacle we have to look out for.
Are you thinking that Buncombe County is going to get spared a little bit compared to Henderson County?
From looking at the last forecast, it looks like a little bit further south that the potential for more ice is there. It doesn't take a whole lot of ice, just a really fine layer to get in between the roadway and your tire surface, and you've got your hazards. So I do see the southern counties getting maybe a little bit more than Buncombe, especially the northern part, but I'm thinking that we're going to get enough to where it's going to cause trouble.
What's your message to drivers?
Well, if you do not have to leave, don't. Stay home. If you do have to get out, the first thing to do is just patience. Take your time, drive slowly, and always allow enough distance in between you and the other vehicles. That allows you to stop. No sudden brakes or steering movements as you cross bridges or overpasses. Just let off the accelerator, don't hit your brakes, coast across them, and just allow yourself enough time to get to your destination. Don't get in a hurry. You should be fine.
You talked about this as like the first ice event you guys have had this year. What are some of the things your crews are doing to kind of help prep for that now? I mean, you talked about trees and all other kind of things that come from this.
Basically, everything is the same for an event as far as the equipment for our outrigging our vehicles. The only difference in this one is we made sure all of our chains for the vehicles were good, and we sharpened and maintained our saws because we are expecting some downed trees during this event. That's really the only main difference. Material-wise, in this event, we'll put more of a salt-sand mixture. That way the sand will obviously stick and give a little bit more traction while the salt tries to melt off the ice. Usually in a snow event we use more salt just for the melting purposes, but when we have ice we add more sand in the equation.
What would your message be to people who may be new to the area, they're not used to the weather in this area, and if they had to leave their homes?
I would assume the black ice is, obviously you can't tell the difference between it froze and not froze. If you do have to get out, just assume that everything is going to be slick. Don't, if you're going down the road and you find some wet, don't assume that a mile up the road you're going to run into the same thing. It may be ice. So just assume the worst, take your time, and hopefully you can get to your destination safely.
All right, and then my last question is, for people who may be out driving, who may get stuck behind some of the trucks that are out working, what are some things they need to keep in mind?
Try to stay back a couple hundred feet. Just assume that we are spreading material. Anytime you see our trucks, if they're not spreading, that's because they've loaded and they're heading back to their section. Do not try to pass, especially in icy conditions. And that falls back to just allow yourself enough time to get to your destination. So if you get stuck behind one of our trucks, it's probably the best place to be, and just let us do our job, and everything should be fine.
Anything else you want to say?
Back to having saws. So we've got saws.
Yes.
What other safety equipment?
We got all our PPE. We got our vest, chaps, hard hat, earmuffs, gloves. So anytime we're using a saw, we have all of our personal protective equipment available for us.
And describe the relationship that we have, not just with the people, but when things do get cut into the power lines, we have to work with other agencies. They have a role, we have a role. What's DOT role?
Yeah, the DOT, we will not cut anything out of a power line. If a power line is involved, obviously the power company is notified. Once they have cut and cleared the tree, the hazard as far as their line, we will come in if need be and finish up. We work closely with all utility companies because obviously, here in the mountains this time of year, trees fall, it usually catches a line. So we do work as partners in that equation. And yeah, so if we have any issues, usually you see both of us out on a job.
And the number one goal is, to kind of just get it out of the way and then come back and clean up.
Yep.
Is that the way I understand it?
Yeah, we do. What we try to do is cut it back past the white line a few feet just to get the roads open. And then as the weather breaks, warmer days, clearer days, we'll come through and start picking debris up out of the road. So if you do run across trees that are down, we will be back at some point to clean those up after the event's over.